Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today we're going to talk everything Arcane Repository. So I took down some notes. So if I pause here and there, I am looking at my sheet of paper for reference to what to talk about. So we're going to go over the fastest way to level up this station. We're going to go over a few items that I think is hot in the trade post right now. And you could probably make some really good gold. We're gonna go over everything. We're gonna go over everything I think that you need to know. Uh, so one of the interesting things about this arcane repository is you can craft weapons and you can craft potions, but with the potions, you don't need a crafting set in order to uh, optimally use the station, right? Like, if you're crafting potions, you can't get additional bonus crafts by wearing a set. So that's pretty cool, pretty user friendly. But if you're crafting weapons, you will need a set to get that gear score to the max level. So let's start off by going over the fastest way to level up this station. And spoiler alert, it's pretty much the same way I'm teaching you guys or going over to level up this station the fastest is pretty much the same with every station. I might make this into a series going over other stations, but I thought the Arcane Repository was pretty interesting for a few reasons. So I wanted to make one on this. So the fastest way to level up any crafting stations, but we're talking about the Arcane Repository specifically, is going to be, you see this right here. It says first craft bonus available. So you want to take advantage of every single thing that has that. All right, so I'm going to show you the actual bonus that you get when you craft one of these first craft bonus available and show you why it's so good to do. Because a year or 2 years ago, we used to just craft like 100, 200 of the same items and then just break them down that had the highest experience per, mats being used. But this is much more efficient. So I'm going to show you on the Iron Life Staff. So as you see down here in the bottom right, it says 1,284 XP for crafting this item. We're going to craft it, and then we're going to look and see the XP after that. 456. So without the first time craft bonus, that's what you get. So it is almost a 3 times multiplier for taking advantage of that. So as you see, if you just go through and craft all of these, once you basically, it's a fairly straightforward system. You can even do these potions as you go along. Just do the first time craft bonus, even though it's a much smaller amount, 77 as opposed to like 1200 for weapons. It's almost a 3 times multiplier, right? So 0 to whatever the next milestone is. It looks like 50 is the big one, but I was looking through here. Yeah, right here. There's going to be some at 25. And just do all of them. If you do that 9 times out of 10, it's going to get you to the next milestone, meaning if you do all the 0, it'll get you to 25. If you do all the 25, it'll get you to 50. If you do all the 50, it'll get you to 100. And the last thing that I will tell you guys about this, if you get stuck in a position where you didn't quite make it to the next milestone, what I like to do, and I think is the best way to do it, is let's say you're at 97, right? And you need to get to 100. What you could do is find something that's actually usable, right? Like if you craft a potion, you could resell it, right? If you craft a weapon, there's a high chance it's not gonna sell. You're just gonna salvage it. So, but usually the milestones that you need to continue crafting to get to the next milestone is gonna be higher up. Is gonna be at like 150, 200. And at that point, there's usable stuff like right here, you know, uh, fire absorption potions. These are good. Right here, infused regeneration. But I think you guys get what I'm saying here. So we're going to move on to the next thing. That is the fastest way to rank up this station. And as I stated, any other station. Another thing that is so good about the Arcane Repository is I believe it is the easiest way to make a matrix out of all the stations. Granted, you will need to level up weaponsmithing to 250 in order to craft the tempered cast. Here at the Arcane Repository, you can craft the honing acid and you can craft the matrix at this station, which is not always the case. So, and if you're just starting off, you actually don't necessarily have to get weaponsmithing to 250. You could, if there's still profit on your server, what you could do is you can craft the honing acid here, and then you can buy the tempered cast from the trade post if it makes sense. Because if you have both of these, then you can craft the armor matrix. This is the ingredient that you will need to make honing acid. The next thing we're going to go over in this video is, I believe it's 3 items that I think are very good to make gold to turn a profit from the Arcane Repository. So the first thing we're going to go over as a good money-making item is going to be Infused Alkahest. This is so good. And the reason it is so good is because you need this Infused Alkahest to craft any tier 5 potion. So if it's the mana potions, health potions, serums, regenerations, whatever it is, you need these bad boys. So there's also going to be a bonus tip in here brought to you by our friend from stream, Improv. There is 2 ways to craft Infused Alkahest. The most common way is going to be high sop. But if you check out here, it says chance to craft additional items is 25%. So if you were to craft this, you would have a 25% chance to craft bonus Infused Alkahest. But, my friends, if you check this out, if you use aloe gel, it now has a 50% chance to craft additional items. So I'm going to show you guys on the map my favorite spots real quick to farm these items. Aloe gel, high sop, and Azoth water. So if we look on the map here, actually, I don't even have to zoom out for this first one. So high sop, actually I will. So for high sop, it's all around New Corsica and Brimstone, like just literally the perimeter of this town. And if you follow, so it's around the perimeter and up this pond, whatever, this river, whatever you want to call it. There you go. And then if you want to do aloe gel, which not only will give you a better bonus to craft additional items, but it's also, from my experience, less contested because most people are trying to grind for high sop. So if you go here to this shrine and you come down to this area right here, this whole area is covered with aloe gel. So if you're doing things in the game like OPR or dungeons or whatever, you could just keep your character here in between doing stuff, just farm it passively. And then the last thing that you guys will need, we're not going to go over water because that's pretty obvious. You can get it anywhere, or you could just probably buy it from the trade post for 1 cent a piece, which is what I usually end up doing. But for the Azoth water, this can be pretty contested. This can be pretty contested. So Azoth water has the most spawns in Reek water, period. The spot that I like to go to is you're going to go to this fast travel point right here. And I go right here. All the way right there. There's a ton of Azoth water here. The other spot is going to be right here. This place has a ton, definitely the densest area of Azoth water in the game is here. And then you can work along this perimeter of this entire lake. But it's contested. So are you going to get more from an area that's highly contested and always on cooldown? Or here, which you can get almost 100 Azoth water in one run that takes 7 minutes ish. That is less contested. The last thing I wanted to bring up, just kind of a side note for the OG players, which was a reason why the Arcane Repository was so good. If you guys remember, if you guys are OGs, when these matrices first came out, this honing acid was the only matrix craft mod that actually had a 25% chance of crafting an additional item. So that's pretty cool. All right, my second items that I want to show you guys that you can make some good profit crafting, and I'm going to tell you the strategy along with that to maximize your profit. So is going to be any type of coating or wards, right? These are potions specifically for PvE that all PvE players that get into the later game are going to use, like any mutations, any trials, any raids. Everybody's going to need these. And they're all going to have different craft mods that you're going to need to craft them. And another thing that I could show you, if you don't know this, anything that you click on, like to see, because it's a lot of, if it has this drop down, that means it's gonna that you could use more than one item to fill that slot to craft whatever you're crafting. And when you click it, if you unchecked owned, it will show you everything you can use. Ideally, you want to use the lowest tier item to craft something, or the cheapest on your server, right? Say for some reason, if sulfur was the cheapest out of all these materials, which it's not, but if it were, you could use this, and this is how you would check to see what could be used to craft it. The way to maximize your profit if you do go this route and craft some of these coatings or wards is going to be to only put them in the trade post. I'll give you a specific example, right? Infused Angry Earth coating. If you have 50 of these that you want to sell because you crafted them, or say during the process that we spoke about before, say you needed to craft stuff in order to get to the next milestone while leveling this up, and say you crafted 50 infused angry earth coatings. To maximize your profit, what you're going to do is you're going to go into let's see, how do I do this? basically, you want to wait for something that's angry earth to be in mutation. So say this was what is it? I don't know, just an angry earth enemy type. If this was an angry earth, which it's not, it's human, right? So let's just say you were doing human infused coatings. You're going to put them in the trade post when it's relevant to the mutations that are currently up. I think you guys are following what I'm saying. I'm fumbling a little bit, but you guys are following me, I'm sure, right? So what you would do, and also if you don't know this, the mutations switch or rotate every Tuesday. So basically, if you're keeping an eye on the trade post and what's going on in the game, when Tuesday hits, if you have those potions, check and see what's mutated. Put those on the trade post for 7 days because you could change how long you put it on the trade post. Put it on there for 7 days. That's how long it's going to be in rotation for. Long story short, any relevant mutation, corresponding coding is going to be worth more. It's going to be more sought after. The price is going to be more. It'll sell faster. I think you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. The other thing I want to show you guys, because part of my videos, I like to give you guys all the information that I can, so you guys are successful, right? So we're going to go here. And this is a extremely valuable tool that I recommend you guys utilize. It is a website, newworldmap.com, right? Because if you guys saw the items that you needed to craft, some of that stuff we were just looking at was essences, right? Say you need air essence in order to make one of those coatings, right? Boom, it shows you everywhere on the map that has it. And you could do this with anything in the game, right? Say you want to find out where the boars are. You just click it, unclick it, it shows you everything. Yeah, so utilize that when you're looking for items, and you will maximize your farming experience. So we'll move on to the next tip. The next thing we're going to go over as far as things to craft from the Arcane Repository to make a profit is going to be regeneration serums. These things are the big dog potions. Okay, these are the big boy potions right here. And the thing I have to recommend if you're going to be making these potions are really only going to be the players that do world tours, that do acid runs, because you're going to acquire most of the ingredients outside of the Infused Alkahest, which, hey, we went over as a previous tip. But this tip is going to be for people, as I stated, who don't need to buy these potions. If you have to buy these potions, which you can actually make them, though, you could make them. But my point is if you have to buy a majority of the ingredients to make these regeneration serums, it's going to severely cut into your profits. But as I stated, these are the big boy potions, and any serious PvPer or PvEer is going to want this on their hotbar. You can make a ton of gold from these potions. The way I personally do them, first off, I use mine. I don't sell mine. But how I do it is I usually let my potions build up for a month or so. And I farm to craft the Infused Alkahest. And then I'll craft like 400 to 500 of these regeneration serums, and I try to make it last as long as possible. But these things are extremely valuable, but they're also not easy to craft. But keep in mind, the last thing I want to tell you guys about these things to not try not to let you guys get discouraged is it has 105% chance to craft additional items. So I'll go ahead and show it to you. We're gonna craft 10. Right? You're like, oh man, this is a lot of mats to only craft 10, right? Let's see what happens. We crafted 10. My webcam may be in the way a little bit, but we ended up with 21 regeneration serums. So keep that in mind. Try not to get discouraged with the amount of mats that are needed here. It is a very good, potentially the best money making thing in the Arcane Repository. The last money making item that we're going to go over in this video, which I almost feel like I should have a Patreon for this tip here alone. Because in my opinion, it is so good. I've made probably 50K in the past two weeks off this Aquae Rejya. And I haven't even crafted a single one. I just place buy orders. When they fill, I just post them back up for sale. And with that being said, if you do want to support me, if you're enjoying the content, if you appreciate the work that I'm putting in to help out the community, best way to support me would be to check me out on Twitch at Noble Duelist TTV. If you want to sub there, man, it would help me out a lot. I'm going to continue to try to put out more content and show you guys some cool tricks and tips, and just just general videos about New World. It's what I do. So the reason this is kind of a very interesting tip, I feel like as a veteran player, is because this is something that with the recent Aeternum drop has made this item extremely valuable. And I think there's probably a handful of people that realize this. If you're going to make the Gorgon Essence, which actually is in the Arcane Repository right here, if you craft, so you need the Gorgonite Inductor, which you get from the Hive of Gorgon. If you clear it, you get this. If you take this and you want to craft it into a Gorgon Essence, which will then allow you to use the Gorgon Essence at any station and craft a 725 item with all 3 perks locked with Magnify. It's bound to player, you can't sell it, but this is the way to craft something with all 3 perks of your choice. And as you see, it requires the Aquae Rejya. That's what makes this item so valuable. And you could do the same thing. You can go through here, see what items, if you want to farm the mats and get it yourself and not have any out-of-pocket costs, you can use that website that I showed you guys, figure out where these items are, farm it. But these bad boys, these bad mama jambas are selling 300 to 800 gold on my server. So, depending on how many people are trying to sell it, how many people on your server know why it's so good, it might be competitive on your server, but I've made a lot of gold off of this. I've made a lot of easy passive gold using this. And keep in mind, if you're a dedicated player, you need to take certain things into consideration, like reset for the Hive of Gorgon is every Tuesday. So every Tuesday, if you Hawkeye watch the trade post, if you have some of these to sell, and make sure that yours are top, the lowest price or whatever, just make sure. It doesn't even have to be the lowest price necessarily, but just make sure that you're putting these on the trade post Tuesdays. That will bring you the best chance to make some gold there. All right, so I did not mention this, but the weapons, if you are curious, that can be crafted here at the Arcane Repository is going to be the Flail, Ice Gauntlet, Void Gauntlet, Fire Staff, and Life Staff. On top of all the potions and the Matrix stuff that you can do, those are the weapons that can be crafted there. And with that being said, we're going to do the outro to this video. I'm going to give you my final thoughts and rank the Arcane Repository. So my final thoughts are, if these are weapons that you use and or want to craft to put in the trade post for sale, obviously that would make it a reason to just rank it up in itself. But the thing that's super cool about this station is you can also craft all these potions, and it's the easiest station to make a matrix currently. You can also, which we did not also go over, you can convert these motes, right? So if you have the tier 2 motes, you can then craft them into tier 3, and then you could take the tier 3 and you just keep converting them into the tier 5 motes. So there's a lot of things that you can do at this station. I would say more than any other station, which is why I felt the need to make a video on this Arcane Repository. So let me just go over my notes, make sure I went over everything. Yeah, that's so my final ranking on this station, if you haven't picked up on this, is probably going to be S++ tier. It's so good. It packs so much value in one station. Outside of like armoring and weaponsmithing, which has its own benefits to having leveled up, this one is just so good. It is definitely an S tier for me. If you guys found this video interesting, put some comments on the video and let me know if there's any stations you guys want to see me make a video on, because I'm debating on making this a series. This one is just such a unique station that I wanted to give you guys some information on it. And as always, if you guys are enjoying the content, like, subscribe to the channel. But the best way to support me would be to check me out on Twitch at Noble Duelist TTV. I stream almost every day. If you ever have any questions, you just want to hang out, that would be the place to do it. And honestly, ask me questions in the comments, but if you want to get my direct attention, come in Twitch and ask me there. So thank you guys for hanging out. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.